everyone, welcome to the Step Over podcast. As always, my name is Josh. I don't know why that would change. But today, I am very fortunate to be joined by the new head of soccer operations and head coach of the Carleton Ravens men's team, Marcelo Plada. Marcelo has coached around the world, and he comes to Carleton from Canada's military national team. He was nice enough to hop on the pod and talk about his background, his experience as a coach, what he brings to the Carleton program, and what his expectations are for both the men's and women's programs for this upcoming season. And with the OUA season about to start, it's a perfect time to chat with him. Now, a little editor's note. The start of Marcelo's very first answer to my first question, for some reason, chopped off a little bit, so might sound a little incomplete. After that, though, smooth sailing. So let's get right into it. Here's my chat with Carleton Head of Soccer Operations, Marcelo Plada. Thanks for joining, Marcelo. As it was announced over a month ago, you're the new head coach for both the men's and women's Ravens soccer teams. Congratulations on that. Before we get into that job and the upcoming season, I love asking people about their history and the sport going like right back to the start. When did you first start getting into soccer?
From a South American family, and my father was passionate. He's from Uruguay. He played some pro ball there, and then moved to Canada. And then, when I was born, I basically started kicking the ball around probably three. Grew up in a Spanish environment. We played a lot of futsal, so I just grew up playing. Basically, played provincials, regionals, and then kept playing at a high level. And then school time came around and had to make a choice. I ended up going to Royal Military College, just thinking about my future and having, the prospect of having a job after getting education for free. So it appealed to me. I was fortunate that, they had even a varsity team. I had no clue even if they had a varsity team or not. It was more for school. And then from there, I found out that they had like a national team, a military national team that competed at military world games, like the equivalent of the Olympics and a World Cup. So they had that. So I made that team right out of my first year. And then after I graduated from engineering degree, went to Ottawa. And then that's where became familiar with the scene in Ottawa in soccer. And I started coaching right away. So I was about probably 22, coaching women's prem, but playing also with some of the local teams there in Ottawa. So back then it was Ottawa Royal, St. Anthony, Fury, Wizards. So I was part of that. Community, got a chance to win, and it's called the Challenge Cup. So we won the first one for Ottawa back then. And then I just moved along, and I was still doing both playing soccer at a decent level, and then with the military and the national team. So I traveled everywhere with the national team. So I played in China, played in Brazil, Barbados, England, Ireland. So you name it, we got to go everywhere. So, and I just kept playing and coaching to the point where it was probably around 32, 33, where I got most of my accreditation, all my licenses. I competed for the head coach position in the military national team around 36 or so, and I got the position. And then since then, I just kept coaching at that level. So it was good because you're competing against professional coaches, professional players, so getting exposed to the global game, if anything. And yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell, like my affiliation with soccer, I suppose.
I mean, that's a fantastic roundup. You did a really good job with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, thanks.
No worries. So as a player, like what position did you prefer playing?
I love the 10, so I always like enjoyed playing the attacking mid. But I was used, at least in Ottawa, I was used primarily on the wings because of my speed and my abilities on the 1v1. But yeah, I typically an attacker with no sense for defense. So a lot of things critiques on me. It was just I didn't do enough on defense. But
Right
yeah,
on.
that's my stuff.
Um, and yeah, you said, you're a member of the Ottawa Royals with the Challenge Cup. And like I think you played with a few players that are still very well connected in the Ottawa soccer scene. Like I believe you played with Kwesi, Sanjeev Parmar, a few other
Yeah.
guys. Kind of as you travel the world, did you kind of keep those connections with all those guys?
No, definitely, definitely. So, I made it, one of my objectives to to bring the national team to Ottawa whenever I could. So I always touch base with Kwesi at the time. Sanjeev actually played on the military national team for a year.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So he was, there's a few guys too. There was Kwame, there was Abe, Gord McDonald, Alec
Like a
Edgar,
lot
and
of
there
the
were,
guys that kind of are the lead, like a lot of the leaders in the Ottawa soccer scene.
yeah, definitely. So they joined the military for the joy of going on, this big tournament and getting paid for it. So yeah, we connected right away, and then I've always had a good rapport with all these guys within the community, and yeah, it's worked out. I mean, for me, just this is like my second home. I grew up in Toronto more than anything else, but this is really, I guess, really my home.
Okay. Um, so yeah, you said that you got into coaching really early, like at 22. What was the appeal to coaching?
Well, I think the appeal at first was really because it was going to pay for my registration, so I think that's why I primarily started doing it. But then the attraction of just like working with other athletes, it just appealed to me in the sense that I could offer whatever experience I had at the time and just work to understand the game. I was always a learner of the game, so I appreciated working whether it was with seniors or youth. I felt like I learned a lot from just the experience itself, so that helped me a lot. And I just kept on coaching because it's just the joy of working with the youth. It was nice to see that. It was very rewarding. Just the effort they put in and seeing if some tactics that you apply or the way you teach can help them just reach their own goals. And it's I think the biggest attraction I have just to see the players grow and develop and just try to empower them as much as you can and open those doors whenever possible.
It's fantastic. Are there like have there been coaches that you've admired or like looked up to or like tried to emulate in some ways? Like they could be local, they could be, big time coaches.
I look at, even the local coaches around in Ottawa, there's some fantastic coaches around and I definitely gleaned some of the best practices from them. I definitely, had a couple of role models in, my own career as a coach, people who've coached me, who taught me a lot, and just the appreciation of, different styles of coaching really help the players learn. So I didn't have, one specific role model. I had a few that I've learned from, and then some of the professional coaches. There's a lot of interest in how they apply their knowledge and how they do it, and trying to really understand the best way to teach and pass on the messages. So learning from the best has kind of informed me, and then I also look at just business practices and other non-soccer related type teaching methods that I've learned just from being in the military, that I've been able to apply not only with my work but with coaching athletes. That I think it's just that diverse portfolio in terms of how to lead as a coach. Just I think it's helped me a lot. So I guess I'm a learner as a coach, and I use not only soccer role models, but I use business role models, entrepreneurs, and things that they teach to just help empower people and athletes.
Okay. Things don't happen in a bubble. You're a coach, but you've also had this military career. Um, and like in terms of teaching, have there been any kind of like pedagogies that you've been able to apply to coaching or maybe vice versa?
Mm. Yeah, it's a good question. I guess the one, I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek, and like some of the teachings that he has, like leaders eat last, or some of these Malcolm Gladwell.
Hmm.
He teaches a lot about leadership and different styles, and those are types of models that I've used at least for myself, not only in work but even in soccer. Just the whole concept of just empowering the individual, serving others before self. And that's kind of been, my philosophy, and some of the things I teach with my guys here, like, they all understand what my values are and then how I apply that, and they see it in every day. So, whatever I preach, I practice and I do, so they see. And, and the four values that, I carry for this team is basically family, selflessness, mindfulness, and courage. And that's who we are. That's who I am, at least. And that's the message that I've been passing on to the players. So I think it's a diverse pedagogy, like that's a diverse way of applying your coaching methods, but I think it's worked for me at least.
Okay. So what attracted you to the Carleton program? And like, how did you sell yourself as the right pick to take over from Kwesi?
Uh, well, I think the appeal was really coming home again, I suppose. Ottawa's been kind of like my second home, and then the opportunity came up where I saw the notification that there was an opening. So I definitely, I was courageous to try to apply. I think what might have sold, I guess, for myself would have been just my diverse portfolio. I've traveled a lot. I've seen a lot. I've experienced, not only, local soccer, I've, experienced the global game in different areas of the world. I've got a network, spread from Clairefontaine to Brazil and Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro. So that network, helped a lot, not only just having those contacts, but just, teaching me different ways to apply whatever methodology you want to use. So I think, it was just maybe the um, well traveled individual who's always had his hand in football. Um, that might have appealed to the higher ups here, whoever selected me. So
Okay. So since joining, I imagine you've been a pretty busy guy. What have you been up to in preparation for the 2023 OUA season?
we've been doing a lot. I mean, one, just getting to know kind of the rhythm of OUA soccer and trying to understand the student athlete. I had to get to know the players so that you know people management piece like that, building that rapport with the players, getting that trust, and then I also have to get the trust of the staff here, the staff that work with me. So it's been quite busy, and then you want to apply your own methods in teaching the players and them understanding it's just not soccer. You have to focus on other aspects of the game, strength and conditioning, mindfulness, mental performance. And we've done a lot of that just to get the players ready. So we've hired a mental performance coach who works weekly with the players on mindfulness activities. We've done a lot of team building type things to get to know each other, and for the players to get to know themselves and build that rapport, which I thought was critical. And then we use different ways of teaching. Like we use a lot of presentations, a lot of visual stimulants or stimulus, just to give them a different way of interpreting the information. So it's been busy, no doubt.
Yeah, but
But yeah, no, it's been good. Like I've been studying them a lot as well, studying the history, studying the alumni and their influence on the program, and just trying to get a good idea in terms of what can help the program. So just trying to connect the dots and hope that the message gets across and getting the players really just motivated and engaged as much as I can. So that's been what I've been doing really the last month.
okay. Um, and how much of a balancing act is it, being in charge of both the men's and women's sides? And like, are the tactics in terms of coaching different, or are they similar for each side?
I think they're a bit different. It's very customized to, each program. So I oversee the women's program. So my input's a little less than obviously than the men's because where I'm directly, leading that team. I'm really just learning from Dominic Oliveri, see how he applies himself with that program and, his approach. And, we're looking to eventually establish some objectives for the year. And I want to be able to see if they can meet those objectives, which we'll measure at the end of the year. So they're different. They're different personalities for sure. But I'm really excited about the women's program. They've shown a great attitude. They're coachable. And I was excited just not only like their results over the preseason have been amazing. They went 4-0
Hmm.
against good quality teams. It just shows that the program's moving in the right direction, and it's really I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the men's squad obviously has a history of being among the stronger sides in OUA and across the country in youth sports. And yeah, the preseason results have been really strong for the women. And I've been reading a bunch of other like very just positive feelings around that squad heading into the season. Do you have any specific internal expectations of where you expect each side will finish in the standings?
I'd hate to place a
It's a hard question.
standings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I definitely feel this team has the quality. to be amongst the top three on both sides. So that's basically my expectations, the top three finish for both sides.
Okay.
Um, but I'm expecting them to go quite far. I mean, I've seen the quality that's here. We with the men's side, we played excellent competition against UDM, top five last year. We were able to win an away game against them. We played St. FX here. We had a barn burner of a game. We won 4-3. So those results have been very good. And it's just a little bit of fine tuning in terms of just our defensive mindset and personality. So that's something that we've been working on this week. But yeah, I'm expecting them to go far on the men's side and the women's side. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how far they're going to take this. I mean, it was the first time they made the playoffs last year, and they should have won that game. And now the team looks just motivated, engaged. They're winning. They went undefeated in the preseason. I don't think they've ever done that before. So Dominic definitely has them rolling the right way, and it's been exciting to watch.
So for those looking to follow the Ravens this year, whether they're new to following the program or if they're longtime fans, what we do you say are some of the specific strengths of each side?
So I think we'll start with the women's side. I think just the passion that they play with, it's contagious. So you can see just the work life mentality. They're able to grind out games even if they're not dominating possession. So you can expect the team to really show their heart on their sleeves. Like they'll give everything on the pitch. So in terms of that type of mentality, they're going to be very strong, competitive, and they'll put up a good fight against the topper teams in the OUA Eastern Conference. So as for the men, it's a quality team as well in terms of just their technical ability and the athleticism. It's pretty surreal. Like I've got 25 players that are just great on the ball, off the ball, work life mentality as well, and their technical ability just complements everything else that they bring to the table. So they're just two beautiful teams, really, like in terms of different attitudes. So I think you'll see some exciting stuff from both programs.
Awesome. So the men's team has a pretty direct relationship with Atletico Ottawa. Have you been involved at all yet in that respect?
A little bit. So, and we have a couple players who train. So I've been going out to some of those training sessions to see the atmosphere and the environment. So it's been nice. We've had representatives come to watch a couple of our sessions, which has been good. Been very positive. So it's just a relationship that's just it's in infancy really. So if it grows, it'd be great. If it doesn't, we'll just see what happens with it. But it's been very positive so far.
Okay. And are there opportunities that relationship with Atletico might open for you personally?
I don't have the intentions for those doors to open, to be honest. I think my focus right now is just making this team reach its potential and exceed its potential. So I haven't really thought about that too much. I'm just more excited about seeing how both our teams do, on Sunday.
Okay. Um, and like you've been around the Ottawa soccer scene off and on for a long time. How has the scene in the city changed over the course of the last few decades from your perspective?
I mean, there's been positive growth. Just the fact that you've got a professional league here, one, and then a lot of the local clubs are doing quite well, competing at high levels. So I've seen at least over the 10, 15 years how much it's grown. Where I thought I was a pioneer by winning the Canada Cup back then. Now we're often in the finals or winning it. Like Gloucester's won it a couple of times. Like St. Anthony's, like it's something that's become almost a commonplace for them. Like
Yeah.
Ottawa's got a vibrant soccer scene that just keeps growing and growing. So yeah, I think it's developed quite a bit.
All right. Well, that's all the longer form questions that I got for you. I just have a few quick questions for you before I let you go, if that's okay
Okay.
with you. All
Yeah,
right.
no.
What's your favorite sport besides soccer?
Ooh, I love basketball. I grew up playing hockey. I'll say basketball.
Okay. Your favorite movie?
Oh, I used to love Boys in the Hood back in the day. There's a lot of them. Fight Club, that hits home sometimes. But yeah, I don't watch too many movies, like anything recent. But yeah, I'll go with Fight Club. I always liked Fight Club.
Okay. Your favorite food?
Ooh, good poutine sometimes. It's just It's tough on the belly though, but
Never a bad
that's
option
a
though.
hard.
I mean, maybe after, but
Yeah, I always got some good poutine. It's not bad.
yeah. Okay, if you were gonna make someone a meal, like if you want to impress them, what would you make?
Ooh. Well, I'm South American, and we do a good
Good
barbecue.
food. Yeah,
So that's that. I would say that like we get the charcoal out and kick it up and have a good party.
right on. What's the strangest food you've ever had?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, I've been all around the world. Yeah, I've tried a bit of everything. I mean, I've tried grasshopper, I've tried frog, escargot, what else? Liver. I don't know. Any of those, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Chocolate milk or regular milk?
Ugh, I'm lactose intolerant, so I wouldn't take either.
Oh, that's the wrong question then.
Chocolate milk. I could do chocolate
All right, all right. Maybe some chocolate soy milk. How's that?
milk. That'll work. That's better.
Yeah. Um, Pineapple on pizza, good or terrible?
Good.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
okay. Can you play a musical instrument?
I only learned the recorder, and that's about it. I haven't played much. My daughters play like the piano, the guitar.
Okay,
So I gotta learn. I can start learning for
okay.
sure.
It's in the family. Okay. What's the better halftime snack? Oranges or watermelon?
I love oranges.
Okay, okay. And my last question, when you aren't doing football things, what are you most likely to be doing?
Ooh, good question. Well, I don't know. I'm always doing soccer now or football. Just reading, I suppose.
Okay.
Meditating, one or the other. A lot of reading.
Awesome. You've been really generous with your time, Marcelo. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with the 2023 OUA season.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Step Over podcast. Please follow the pod wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps the show, and you'd be doing me a big favor. It also makes sure that you know right away when new episodes go up. Sometimes there's, a few weeks, maybe a few months between episodes, and sometimes the juices are flowing, and you'll hear me with more regularity. And either way, you'll be the first to know when there's a new episode when you subscribe. And I'm all about supporting local soccer, local footy in all forms. So be sure to check out other local pods like VAR Check, which chats a lot of European and international footy, as well as Atletico Ottawa focused content. And if you're an Atletico Ottawa fan, Capital City Supporters Group puts out their After the Whistle pod after every single match. For this show, though, that's it for this episode. So go out and take in some local soccer. There's lots coming up with Atletico Ottawa on the home stretch of the CPL season, and U Sports about to begin with the U Ottawa GGs and Carleton Ravens both in action over the next 2 or 3 months. So take in as much as you can, and until next time, we'll see you.